Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode for the channel. So today I'm going to be talking about my 2012 MacBook Pro. So first off, I'm taking out all of the screws on the bottom panel of this laptop. So what I'm attempting to do today is upgrade the storage of this MacBook Pro. So this MacBook Pro came with a 2.5 gigahertz i5, 8 gigs of RAM, and 128 gigabyte SSD. So it was the base model laptop back in 2012 when you were able to get these for a reasonable price. So I've been looking at MacBook Pros recently and they're very, very expensive. So it made more economic sense for me to find a new drive to put into this laptop. So what you see that I'm doing here is I'm trying to lift out the drive that I attempted to change earlier in this laptop. So what I did was I bought an adapter plate from Amazon, which was supposed to convert an M.2 SSD to an Apple ported SSD. It did not work properly, and I think it's something to do with the software, not the actual physical device, or the adapter piece that I got did not work properly. This is the WD drive I tried to change. This is the little adapter plate that I found on Amazon. A couple of people said that this adapter plate would work and it had very good reviews, but I couldn't seem to manage to get it to work. I did have it plugged in very, very snugly. I wasn't able to get a screw on it though because the M.2 drive stuck out slightly longer than what it was able to hold. So the other thought that I had was it might not have worked because I bought an NVMe M.2 drive instead of the SATA. So what I did was I went online on Amazon again and I found this drive. So this is a 500 gigabyte drive and I was able to put this into my laptop. So you can see that this drive already has the special Apple connector for the SSD. I believe it's called a B key. And I didn't have to worry about getting any adapters for this drive. So it's pretty simple to install. The first step is to get it out of the packaging. Once it's out of the packaging, you have to make sure you position it correctly in the little slot. So I'm being very careful trying not to touch the board at this point because it is very delicate and I don't want to short anything. So you can see the bottom of the board is very flat and you can see that portion of the adapter is very, very small. So comparing the two, they both look very similar. And I believe that it might be something to do with the drive that I tried to put inside of the green one. Maybe that's why it didn't work. But I know for sure this blue one will work because it is designed to work for this laptop. All right, so you can see what I'm doing. I'm trying to push it in very gently. So I found that it was easier to put a screwdriver inside of the small tiny hole to try and pry it into the slot because my fingers were just slightly too big and I couldn't get a good grasp on the drive. So what I did was I tried to line it up and then I will grab a screwdriver and just push it in very, very gently. And there we go. So you can see how it snugly went into place and you can see clearly how there's going to be a screw that's going to go into that hole. So once the drive was in place, I looked for a screw to kind of put in that hole. I didn't have a screw that came with it because I used it in my other MacBook Pro video to fix something that was wrong with the other MacBook Pro. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out. It's on my channel. So once I found the screw, it was a little bit too small. So what I did was I tried to look for a washer which would hold it in place. So it's so snug in there that you probably wouldn't need a screw, but I put a screw in just because I was afraid that if the laptop got jostled or maybe shaken a bit, it might have came out, but I doubt it would come out because it's so snugly in there. And the screw holding it is very, very tiny. So just in this clip here, I'm putting the screw through the washer. It was really, really tiny and it was really hard to get into the hole. So if you have a magnetic screwdriver, it would help you a lot, but I did not have one, so I had to be very gentle with it. I do not recommend putting it on the board like I did there, just because you could scratch it. So if you're looking at this SSD here, it actually has the capacity to have 2 more storage bricks on it. So they do go up to 1 terabyte. I didn't go for the 1 terabyte option because it was way too overpriced. And 500 gigabytes is more than enough for what I want to do with it. So you can see that the washer is going to hold the drive in place, and it'll be just as good or better than the original screw that Apple had. Okay, so now here the next step is we have to flip it over, and we're going to have to put it back underneath the trackpad. So it's very interesting that Apple chose to put their SSD underneath the trackpad. I haven't seen this in any other manufacturer before. So it's very simple, it just clips into place with the 2 little plastic pieces, and then you get that Lego styled connector. I just blew it off just to make sure there's no dust in it, and connected it back to the MacBook Pro. So the final steps here is we're gonna have to put the back plate back onto the MacBook Pro. We're gonna have to put all the screws in. Once we have that done, we're gonna have to go into Internet Recovery and reinstall macOS on this system. So I'm going to install macOS on this system, but afterwards I'm going to use Boot Camp to put Windows 7 or Windows 10 on this, because I want to use it as a Windows laptop and not so much as a MacBook Pro, just because most of my software that I use every day is Windows software, and I don't want to have to purchase it again. So thanks for watching this. Hope you liked it. If you liked it, subscribe, comment, like, and let me know how I did. Thanks. We'll see you in the next one.